Good morning. It is August the 12th, and I'm Will Schofield, the Superintendent of the Hall County School District. Just a couple of quick updates as we've begun what has been an incredibly smooth opening with a lot of smiling faces at all of our schools. 2021-22 school year. First of all, when it comes to the issue of COVID, let's just very quickly go over what's happened since we've begun school. Yesterday, we put out the emotional wellness survey to parents to let us know how they felt that their children were doing as compared to pre-pandemic. And I would have to tell you that with over 4,000 responses in from families, thank you for doing that and keep them coming. The first thing we're seeing is that what we suspected is what we're hearing from parents, and it is parents who know their children the best. And that is approximately 40% of our parents say that their children's emotional wellness has been negatively affected since the beginning of the pandemic. About 20% say that their child's emotional wellness has improved, and 40% say that it's about the same. Again, those are coming in on a regular basis, but what we see so far is parents at a ratio of about 2 to 1 are saying yes, this pandemic and all of the mitigating circumstances we've had since the beginning of it have had a negative impact on our child's emotional wellness. What we're seeing, quite honestly, some people have asked the question, why aren't we posting data every day? And the reason is that we spent 19 months answering multiple questions almost every day on the data, which unless you know the nuance and the stories behind that data, don't make a lot of sense. So we will continue to post our data weekly. As a perfect example, I see nothing alarming. I go to bed at night looking at the data. I get up in the morning looking at the data. We look at the data several times throughout the day. And with 20 elementary schools, as you can see, as of 9:30 this morning, we have 29 positive student cases, 16 positive staff cases, and those range at schools with the number of schools having 0 positive cases to the highest number of cases at elementaries being 5. By the way, when we talk to our contact tracers and our principals, which I do whenever anything is a little higher than everyone else, you'll see that those 5 cases, 4 were completely unrelated. 1 was a child who hasn't even been to school yet. At the middle school, you'll see we have 14 positive student cases, 2 positive staff cases, and again, that ranges from a low of 0 at some of our middle schools to a high of 4. And at the high school, we are currently showing 21 positive cases and 8 staff positives at the high school level, with the range being 0 to 7. Once again, this is a perfect example. That school that has 7, 6 of those students have a connection, and that is that they've been off at band camp together and spent incredible numbers of hours together with students. And that's how that virus was passed. So once again, the other question that I'm getting on a regular basis is, are we sure we're making the right decision when it comes to the overall wellness of our children? Let me be the first to say, I'm not sure, and neither is anybody else. I would encourage people to do their own research. One place that might be an obvious place to start would be taking a look at hospitalizations and fatalities of school-age children during the 2019-20 flu season, which is fairly representative of what happens when we have the flu every year, and then comparing that to the number of school-age hospitalizations and fatalities we've had since the beginning 19 months ago of the COVID pandemic. Please hear me as a dad. Losing one child to anything is one child too many, even across our nation of 350 million people. That if we're going to have a rational response to what's going on with COVID in our communities, we need to be willing to look at all of the data and dig into it to really see what's going on the ground with COVID. We have done that. We will continue to do that on a regular basis. Also, if our data changes and the Delta variant changes this data that you see in front of you, then we are in a position to almost immediately require an individual school to mask up, to add additional mitigating practices until we can get those numbers back down. But once again, with a number of schools with 0 active cases, we aren't going to do any of that until we actually start to see some reason to believe that things are changing dramatically within our schools. Finally, we've got some real questions about quarantining students. Last year, we actually would see approximately 0.5% of students who were quarantined eventually having COVID. We probably would have had a very different quarantine process this year, except we continue to believe what we hear, and that is that the Delta variant will be different. But we are doing our own action research, and if 3 weeks from now we see that quarantine students are not eventually getting COVID, we will probably change those quarantine practices to keep students and adults in school more days of the year. We'll continue to post our data weekly. Again, I appreciate you sharing the incredible students that we have in the Hall County School District, and hope that you make it a great Thursday. Thank you.